Hi, everybody. Welcome to C-Suite Strategy Elevate Every Move, Scale Beyond. And our topic of discussion today is attention to your advantage. Can mindset cut cycle time? Your go to podcast on tech, cybersecurity, strategy, and growth. I am your host, Prem Kumar AS today. And we will explore how we can cut the cycle time while we talk about attention is your advantage. A special welcome to all tuned to Power of Knowing Forum's weekly podcast series, episode 289, live on LinkedIn today. We're honored to have Shikha Pandey, peak performance and mindfulness mindset coach, joining us. Let's welcome our esteemed speaker to our podcast event and let's dive into the topic. Hi, Shikha. Welcome to the
Hello, hello,
podcast.
Pray. Thank you so much. And this is such an absolute pleasure to be on this again. I think this was long pending and we've been having conversations, but finally we made it. And I could not be more glad. And a warm welcome to everyone who's listening. I hope we are able to add immense value and bring in a little zen and mindfulness into your days through our conversation today.
Yes, Shika. We will start with saying that if restless mind is slowing every deadline, you really need to control it. So, what is
Oh,
your
yeah.
take on it?
Oh, yes, my take on that. That's such an interesting way to start the conversation. So, most of the time, Prem, when people come and tell me, and I start working with people and we're exploring how we can work together, people come and tell me that, oh, I'm in control. And the first thing that they would show me is their calendar.
Hmm.
Everything is blocked and everything is color coded and there are reminders set. But let me ask this question to everyone who's listening today. If your head is spinning, and you cannot finish one sentence without thinking, what are you going to say next? Or what do you have to do next? Are you really, really in control? Because it's your thoughts that's hijacking, it's your mind's noise which is kind of controlling you. One very classic example that I like to give is that you're driving, but with your handbrakes on. So you're still moving, but you're super slow and painfully slow. And this is what adds to the friction in everything that we do. We spend 30 minutes writing an email which will take 5 minutes. We're missing on slowly deadlines, and you say that, oh, I'm going to research on LinkedIn, and you end up scrolling for a couple of hours not realizing that that has happened, and the deadlines slip because this energy is kind of your energy is leaking out through your overthinking. And that's really is the point. That's always is my take on this because this is what I see the most.
I think overthinking is one pointer that is troubling everybody today. Is today still right? And
Mm,
now, while overthinking, if we want to look at accomplishing much more, because we always feel that we have accomplished less, right? So,
yeah.
then what happens is we start doing multitasking,
Yeah.
right?
And I would
And
like to add one thing on that also. When we think of this, Prem,
mhm,
control is not noise. Control is very quiet. It's not
yeah,
going to look like you're ram filled with. When you see a surgeon on an operation theater or you see an athlete, you
mm,
don't see restlessness. Yeah. You see the flow state, you see that quiet, and you see prime focus.
yeah,
And when you start having mindfulness, so you're becoming more attentive, you realize that your deadlines still come, but
mm,
they come without the drama. And
yeah.
that's the most important thing.
No,
So you were saying about overthinking there. Yeah.
yeah. That's what I wanted to bring one more pointer here, Shika, is
Mm,
that we while we do try to overthink and
mm,
start looking at, we start doing many pointers, right? And
yeah.
multitasking becomes one more important point. Now,
Mm,
tell me something. Multitasking lowers IQ by 15 points.
I know.
How many projects are falling silently? Do you
Hmm.
have a view for it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So let me give you a perspective on everybody who's listening, a perspective on what 15 points really means. Okay. So it is the difference between someone who is above average in intelligence in like a college and someone who is struggling to finish college. That's the 15-point difference that we are really talking about. That's the difference it makes. And every time we spend on overthinking about something, about juggling many things together, we are losing on these points. And
Hmm.
if you ask my perspective on it, Prem, the danger is not a loud failure. It
Yeah.
is silent erosion. And it happens very silently, very sneakily. So projects will not dramatically collapse. They will slowly bleed. You know,
Hmm.
you'll have an email missed somewhere. You will have a detail that was skimmed by. You will have a half-hearted conversation, and you don't realize these things unless the patterns begin to kind of compound together. Then you find that suddenly your launch is delayed, or your client's confidence is slipping down, and you start wondering, I don't know what really went wrong. So I'll give you
Hmm.
an example of this. So I was working with a senior executive, and she would go into meetings, and then suddenly she came up and told me that Shika, I have no recollection of the meetings. Like I cannot keep up with the details because when she went into the meetings, she would go with her laptop. She would be
Hmm.
listening to the meeting. She would be answering Slack messages. She would be taking some calls from WhatsApp and all of those things. And her team started to notice that. They realized that their leader had kind of timed out. And
Hmm.
that was a big, huge gap that started missing out. So, science today has also proven that people, our human brain, cannot multitask. At best, it can switch very rapidly between tasks. You know, it'll go on from one task to another. So, imagine that you're taking a laptop, you want to watch Netflix on it, but there are some 24 Chrome tabs that are open. And then, along with that, there's some rendering happening. So, the laptop heats up and it becomes extremely slow. And that's what happens to our brain. So, coming to the questions, how many projects are failing silently? I think way more than leaders are ready to accept. And the scariest part in all of this is that it shows up in the matrix very late.
Hmm.
And even when it shows up, a lot of time people don't realize why the hell did it happen? There's no answer because all your charts and everything shows that things are getting done. So yeah, a lot number of them, really.
Now, you made one important point here is that you said it goes silently, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
it does not get noticed. Now, why does silence in the head feel scarier than the noise in your inbox? I think you, most of the pointers are silence. How do we look
Yeah.
at this?
That was a very interesting question. And well, my simple answer is noise, the chatter around, it gives us a best alibi,
Hmm.
because if my inbox is exploding with mails, my phone is constantly buzzing, I can tell you, oh, see, Prem, look, I'm very busy. You know,
Yeah.
I'm
Hmm.
doing so much. My plate is full. But silence is very different. Silence is there and you have to confront yourself. And a lot of time it's scarier than 200 emails in your inbox, and most of the times it is.
Yeah.
Because when the noise quietens down, that's when you can ask yourself the very pertinent, important questions. Am I on the right path? Am I leading well? Am I avoiding something? And that is a very uncomfortable situation. So when people are constantly refreshing their inbox, replying to every message really quickly on Slack, being the first person to reply to emails, schedule another meeting, what they are doing is they're really running away from facing this quiet. So this happened in one of the mindfulness trainings that I did with a team. I asked them to sit quiet for 5 minutes,
Hmm.
just 5 minutes.
Okay.
And at the end of the 5 minutes, most of the people said that it felt harder than the 14-hour workday, which they had sometimes, because this is not something that you're used to. because your inbox is very predictable. I'm going to get a
Mm.
request. There'll be some task. There'll be might be some escalation. You know, there's going to be some fire, something that needs attention. But silence is very unpredictable. It's not, you don't know what's going to come up when you're silent. And silence is very raw. So until you train yourself to sit with it, silence will feel like an exposure. But
I think I think
yeah,
one pointer I want to make here, Shika,
mm,
is there was an escalation because you
mm,
said escalation, right? So
yeah,
there was an escalation, and this this is when I was part of a large organization, and there is an OEM, there is my
mm,
team, right?
mm, mm,
The OEM guy is ex reportee of mine,
okay,
and this guy is my reportee, current.
mm,
And we are discussing. I was silent for almost 15-20 minutes listening to conversation, as you rightly said.
yeah,
No, listening. At the stage, it went into a stage where, as you rightly said, so much of message coming that you did not do this, you did not this side,
mm,
and both sides it was coming. And then I said, I think somewhere I have to step in and said, we are in escalation. Can I put a point here? We are in an escalation, right? I've heard you silently so far. We are
mm,
in an escalation. Now, can we solve a problem and then decide who did what? Or we want to fight in the call and see, wait, make the client wait because there's an escalation. There will be a
yeah,
bigger escalation because it's been 1 hour that we have not done
mm,
anything.
mm,
So, what is that you want me to do? What you said about sometimes silence for 5 minutes also was, I was sitting for 1 hour.
yeah,
It really made things very worse that at a stage I said, boss, you are on the other side earlier, about 1 year back, you are this side, you know how this side works. And I was on the other side where I know the OEM and how
mm,
we have been giving business to the OEM. So
yeah,
don't tell me about this organization, this organization. I know both the organizations. Now let's get into a situation, get the situation solved. Let's do postmortem afterwards.
yeah,
Then you'll not believe, over the next 20 minutes, the problem was solved. We were sitting in a call
mm,
for 1 hour.
yeah. And so, Prem, that's the interesting part. If all of you were on the side of the chatter, if all of you were only looking to do things the ways we have been told to do, put the blame out, get someone
Mm,
who's responsible, those things happen.
yeah.
But in this moment, what is the priority? And you can only realize that when you have silence on your side. Because clarity in life comes from silence, to be able to reflect without being, reactive to things. And most importantly, silence is where ideas are born that move the needle.
Mm.
You're not going to get these breakthrough ideas through the pings in your inbox. And that is something that we really must understand. And, that's why it's important to cultivate that silence. Like you rightly said, we have to be able to stay quiet and listen.
I will add one more pointer. Me and my
Yeah.
boss went
Mm,
into a client escalation, and I told this in the previous podcast somewhere also, where we were the client place. The data center was about 4 or 5 kilometers away,
mm,
but we had an outage in the data center.
okay.
We were at the customer head office. Then my boss was sitting, and it was like crazily moving, like what you said, chaos. We are not able to think what went on, but the server is not here. The server is in the data center. So my boss said, "हम यहाँ क्या कर रहे हैं?" I said, and I said, "This is the नहीं नहीं हम यहाँ क्या कर रहे हैं?" Then I realized it was server तो down data center में है. So where should we be? He
Yeah.
said, "Oh, यहाँ पे chaos है. We will not be in a position to think. Let's go to the data center."
Mm.
We
You
ran
see
to
the
the
pause? Yeah. The pause
yeah.
that यहाँ हम क्या कर रहे हैं? It's such an important statement.
Yes. Then we went to the data center and we found that it was strange, but I don't want to reveal the name of the customer. Customer said the server is slow, so he pulled out a power plug of the system.
Oh,
So then we asked him, sir, why did you pull out? See, he is the customer end of the day.
yeah.
So I asked him why. See, we had the server earlier. If it hangs, we used to pull out the plug and restart it. Then I said, sir, it's a bank, and this is an enterprise class server
So,
which will take minimum 20 minutes to boot up.
mm.
Now you pulled out, we've already taken about 20 minutes. It's not booted up. Now this 20 minutes also is lost. Then
So
what we did
yeah, the
is,
classic understanding. Yeah,
then we said to the customer, sir, now if I have a laptop, I can press and reboot it immediately, it'll start. A phone, restart quickly, it'll start. But you have an enterprise class server,
mm.
because it has so much of power that is there to be loaded to come to a stage where the server starts functioning,
Yeah,
and the applications have also have to come up and bring up the interface points which it needs to talk and get the data out. So then we said, anything that is there, we will bring down the system in a procedure. So we had to give him the document saying that if there is an issue, we'll have to see which is the process that is taking most of the resources, kill
yeah,
that process and only bring up that process, not rebooting the server.
yeah,
That's now what you said was, again when we went there, I told boss, वहां पे you told हम यहाँ क्या कर रहे हैं. That was a kind of
yeah,
a silence that you took and a pause you took, and I
yeah.
think that is what we called silence is your superpower, right? So
Oh, it is.
that's where I thought
Yeah,
that I wanted to
absolutely.
give.
And that's such a great example because, we keep asking questions outwardly so
Hmm.
much to, you tell me who did this wrong. A lot of time we forget to ask ourselves, what role can I play in this? What pause can I take and what decision can I take from there? That's such a good example. And that's the power of pause.
Now, at well, we are talking about mindset, right? What
Mm.
is the nightmare if leaders ignore mindset as a performance driver?
Uh, oh yeah, but it's getting highly ignored any which way. So I will kind of talk about that. Because, and the reason why it's getting also ignored is because the nightmare is not one bad quarter.
Hmm.
Like I talked about it earlier as well. We call it the nightmare of erosion. And when I say erosion, it means of your energy, of your culture, of your
Yeah.
trust within the team. So you may have a very, very brilliant strategy. You might have the flawless tools, the best of the team. But if the leader's mindset is one that is reactive or anxious or scattered, it will seep into the team, like almost like secondhand smoke.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's going to seep into it. So I have worked with leaders and because this is what I do and coach leaders on, who are naturally, their default setting was panic. Every small problem, they will take it as 5-grade fire and
Yeah.
just everybody rushing after that. And then over time, kind of initially, the performance on paper looks fine. The projects also get delivered. The clients are also happy. But when you look at extended period of time, things start creeping in. For example, the team starts to burn out. Then there were quiet resignations that were happening. There
Hmm.
was disengagement. The creativity was gone. They are doing the cut, copy, paste things over and over again. And with this particular person that I work with, 6 months later, she had lost two of her very top performing team members to another organization competition, and not because the money was more.
Hmm.
That was because they were not able to cope up with her mindset and they couldn't breathe. That's what the feedback came in. They couldn't breathe in her mind. And that's why she started kind of her work with me. And
Okay.
that is a real nightmare. The numbers are going to look good until suddenly they'll not look good. Because we think mindset is personal. It's my mindset. But
Yeah.
mindset is very, very contagious. Because if a leader has got this superheated emotional temperature and they walk into the room with that hot stress that they lead with is also going to make the team members sweat. Someone who is grounded, when the team works with them, any kind of chaos seems more manageable. Whether it is not, it's not there, it's equally stressful. But it
mm,
seems like, okay, with this leader, we can do this. So if you are really not paying attention to the mindset and you ignore that, you're risking not just the performance, but also things like retention, innovation, culture. And all of these things have no dashboard, right?
mm.
No dashboard is going to warn you about them.
Yeah.
And you will only know about this after the damage is done. That's the only way you ever come to know about it. And that's why it is so crucial and so, so important.
I'll take one pointer here again,
Yeah.
Shikha, is because when I was having a large team to run
Mm,
across India, and I handled the India, Middle East, and Africa regions as operations
yeah.
or delivery operations. So there used to be one or the other issue that used to happen, and then what we started looking at is people were not heard about, right?
Mm,
Because what you said about some time back is silence, because they feel we are not heard, right?
yeah.
That's the first step. They want to back off, and they don't want to give any suggestions or ideas that can solve a problem. So
Mm,
what we started looking at was, how do I bring these people out of the project mindset? Because
mm,
in that system, what used to happen is everybody is running to solve something, and there is always chaos, right? And what we did was one. So this happened in the this happened in Africa, Uganda to be very
yeah.
specific,
Mm,
and it was a telecom customer. So we went there, and that project was going for almost 3 years, and we were not able to conclude and stuff, and people were really stressed out. So what I
mm,
did is, I think what we I told the management, there is something which I want to try, but this has worked earlier for me, but now let me put it here also. So we told the customer that this weekend we are not available, and we will go out and spend time out of the project.
mm,
So in Uganda, there's a large lake, which is a freshwater lake called Victoria Lake. So
yeah.
we took
Mm.
a small fishing boat.
Oh,
We took
nice.
everybody, put in that
Yeah.
fishing boat, and there's a resort out the other side of the this one, middle
Mm,
somewhere. So we
mm,
went there. We told we'll not talk project at all, right?
mm.
And we did some good fishing. We had live fish and all those things.
Nice.
Then things started coming out. We didn't talk project for almost 4 5 hours.
Oh, lovely.
We reached
Mm,
that place. We said we took good pictures. We did all those things, catching fish and doing all those things. We did put our fish on the head, big
yeah.
fishes, and all that we did. And then the issue started. Then I got to understand this pointer. When we are not heard, people
Mm.
stop talking, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I asked them, now what is that we want to do? We've reached here. The whole night is there. We want to have campfire, some drinks. We are good. So let's have that. Campfire started. Then few songs happened. Then the project came out. Songs went off. The project came out. Sir, I did this. It did not work. I did this. It did not work. This. Then I
Mm,
said, problem one, two, three, four. Right? This guy is handling that piece. This guy is handling this piece. This guy is handling this piece. So all are here. Now
mm.
open up. What is that happening? So we were able to crack a problem which was not able to crack for 3 years in that
Yeah.
one day. And
That's the
we
thing. Yeah.
we made a point that everybody starts talking and others listen. And you will not
Mm,
say, I told you all those things. You will just listen.
yeah.
So why I'm telling this point is, we are not heard is the first point, where you will find silence,
Of
resignations,
course.
as you rightly said.
Yeah.
So many resignations happen silently because they are not heard. They have been continuously trying, and they don't want to try anymore, and they want to move
Anymore.
out.
Yeah, exactly. And this is one of the things. I'm glad that you brought out this example because a lot of times when I'm called for a training or a rollout and things like that, uh, usually the expectation from the management is that you'll have a lot of activities and there'll be a lot
Mm,
of stuff that you'll do. And I always tell them I'm happy to do certain activities, but I also very specifically ask for this time slot, which will be just about listening.
mm,
And a lot of time people ask me, oh, but this is not what we have been doing so far. If you have an offsite and things like this, just cramped with stuff. And I said, it's time to change it because
Mm, mm.
people are not feeling like they're being heard. They want to be heard. So we need to shift the way we approach things. And that's one of the places where I have a lot of tussle with the management. But I always make tell them that if I'm coming and doing this, then it will have to have this time where people are able to speak and when the leaders listen without judgment.
I am recently watching one of the series on Prime, which is the
Mm.
Suits. I think
Oh
that's
yeah,
an old
old one.
series.
Yes, yes.
It's amazing the way they crack things.
Oh yeah,
Amazing. That
yeah.
that gives you where you have to put a perspective and where you have to cut off, where the pointers. That amazing series
Amazing.
and I every pointer that he says, it says you have to tell it straight and it has to cut on there, right?
Exactly.
And no nonsense.
No
That's
nonsense.
that's that's one thing that I really like. Now, with that, why do we feel drained even when that task list is completed, but still we see,
Mm.
yeah, we are there is something which we have missed, or we still have after completion of the task also we see drained. What
Yeah,
is your
and
take
not
on that?
feel fulfilled,
Yeah.
which we should ideally be feeling because if you've completed everything that you wanted to do in a day, ideally at the end of the day you should be feeling very fulfilled. But so few people really feel that. That is because sprint energy is not something which is linked to your task that you do. No? It
Hmm.
is about how much of the task you carry in your head.
Yeah.
It is not the tasks on the task list, the amount of tasks that you carry in your head. So you can finish 20 things in a day and you can feel very alive if you did them with your complete focus, knowing that you gave it your complete attention and that you couldn't have done it any better than that, one thing at a time. Or you could do just 5 tasks in a day and feel completely wrecked. Like, oh my God, I am done. Because you have self doubt, you're not sure that I did it right, I should have done it better, maybe more time. So, this is really the primary reason a lot of time people that I work with come and tell me, I did everything today, I'm so exhausted. And so we have to figure out where is this exhaustion coming on?
I think,
Because yeah, because we're running mental marathons, right? Sitting at our desk. We are here, but our mind is running a mental marathon. What if I mess this up? What
yeah.
did I say in the meeting? What is that person going to think? Am I going to look like a good leader or am I not going to look like a good leader? So, it is just so full. So if you are just checking out things from your task box, without really giving your attention to it, it's just adding to your mental load. And that is where the mindset makes a difference. That
No,
is where the mindset of focus and attention makes a difference. Yeah, you're saying something,
yeah,
sorry.
you told a very important one, because I've seen leaders
Mhm.
coming into a meeting and thinking of the next meeting,
Yeah,
right? And
everyone's
they are
doing
not
that.
here; they're already
Yeah,
in that meeting.
yeah.
Yeah. Now,
And also the fact that you're in office, you're thinking about home. You're
hmm,
at home, you're thinking about office. You're in one meeting, you're thinking about other meeting.
all meeting.
And it's just that you're always thinking about something else, which means that every single time you're feeling, oh, I have to do so many things. I'll give you a classic example of my day today. I started at 6:30. I usually have sessions at 6:30 a.m. before offices and start and work day starts. And I probably will be ending somewhere around 8:30. I have another call at 8. We spoke about that, right? So that's my day.
Hmm.
So before I started my day, I just took time to set an intention that today I will show up for one task at a time. I had about 6 sessions and then this podcast and a couple of calls and then another one at the end of the day. But just that mindset changes everything. I also managed to catch a 20-minute nap in the afternoon despite having all of this because I was important. I needed to feel renewed. It's just that it's all in the mind. I could have felt overwhelmed at the beginning of my day, thinking, "Oh my God, 6:30 to 8:30 is too long."
Yeah.
But I feel absolutely fresh and, in fact, even more fulfilled. So it's just about how do you look at things? How are they unfolding in your mind? That's most important.
No,
I'm
you
sorry, I
made
just thought I should give you this example.
yeah, that is very very apt. Now, I have another pointer.
Mm,
Are the deadlines really stressors, or it's a chaos in our thinking. Now, what you are telling is on that
Mm,
point. So I thought I'll bring up this point too.
mm. Well, so what are deadlines? Deadlines are just dates.
Yeah.
If you look at them, they're just dates. They're neutral. They
Hmm.
don't carry an emotion with them. Deadline doesn't come saying that, oh, this is the date with the baggage of 50% stress on it. No, it doesn't come like that. It's just a deadline, you know. What
Hmm.
makes it stressful is the mental chatter that we attach to it. Oh, what if I miss this? What will people think? The project will fail. I'll not be able to do this. All of those things. You know, classic example is think of two students before an exam, right? One student has paced himself out, has prepared for the exam, is getting full night's sleep. The other student is kind of rushing through it, doing last moment preparation, looking at WhatsApp at 2 a.m. in the morning and scrolling Instagram and all of those things. The date has not changed for the exam. The date is the same. But both students have kind of approached the exam in a totally different way.
Yeah.
So if you ask me, deadlines are like weather forecast. You can see a rain coming, but if you have an umbrella, you're fine. You
Yeah.
will move through it. But if you start panicking, oh my God, it's going to flood, and then things will be so chaotic, even before the rain has started, the amount of stress that you've added onto yourself is humongous. So the stress is not the date, it is the chaos that we have built around it. It's as simple as that, nothing else.
Wonderful. Now, if time is pressure constant, how do we keep
Mm.
the focus renewable?
Mm. Because, so you're saying that how do we renew our focus, right?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, if the pressure of time is constant, mm, I think that is because we think that focus is something that renews on itself,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know, and
Okay.
it's not like that. Focus is like phone battery. Okay, if you keep running multiple apps, scrolling, taking pictures, all of that thing, it is going to kind of drain off. And no matter how much you pray, oh my God, I hope my battery doesn't die, it is going to die if you don't plug it in,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
charge it. So
Hmm.
there was this classic case, a CEO that I worked with. And I know he's going to see this podcast because I'm going to share the link with him later. So I'm going to laugh at it. But his example is classic. He refused to take breaks. Okay. When he came to me, he's like, oh, I
Hmm.
don't take breaks. It's a waste of time. I want to
Yeah.
be like 100% productive. And everybody noticed that after 3 p.m., his decisions got super sloppy.
Okay.
Everybody had to repeat things twice. Okay. And he used to get very snappy also, like shouting at people and all that. So the one thing that we did, I told him, you're going to take two 10 minutes break. That's it, just two 10 minutes break. So first, of course, immediately nothing happened. Said, I know this is waste of time, but he continued, thankfully. And after a while, we started noticing in about a 2.5 weeks time that his energy completely shifted. He
Hmm.
got like less snappy, and he was more focused, and he was also kinder to the people. So the team was also very happy. So this is not just any theory. Even NASA today is literally training astronauts with a plan to completely reset their focus.
Hmm.
So they have that. Athletes do it. So because all of these people, they understand that pause is a part of performance. It is
Yeah.
not the absence of it. But in a corporate culture, strangely, we think that pausing is like laziness.
And I
You know?
this there was one pointer where Steve Jobs had said there was one
Oh,
interview.
yes. Classic
Yeah,
example. Yeah.
he paused for a minute, and that reel I saw it on Instagram where it says the power of pause,
Oh, yeah.
right? And
Mm,
he paused and he said, "Now let me tell you, if I hired somebody, that's a kind of a hiring thing that I don't
yeah.
recall the entire thing, but
Yeah.
it was the power of pause that I saw, and answer was so crisp that he was able to give, and it was
Mm.
apt for that point.
Yeah, because and look at Apple then, right?
Mm,
I mean, it's the
mm,
legacy
mm.
of Steve Jobs. So much focus and precision. Doesn't matter what the world is doing. They know exactly what they are doing because there's an extremely mindfulness is built in their culture. So the topic that we're talking about is that pressure is constant, and I
Yeah,
agree to that. And it's not going to get renewed with just vacations and weekend recharge. We need those micro pauses during the day. That's the only way to do it because a tired brain is not just unproductive, it is a hazard when it comes to decision making. And leaders need to understand this and really pay attention to this.
Now, why are burnout cycles treated as vacation instead of mindset trainings?
Ah, so I brought in vacations and you're like throwing me the vacation question then. Because so I think vacations are easy, no? You book a flight,
Yeah.
you post a few beach pictures, and you feel like you've solved the burnout completely. Like,
Yeah.
now I'm not burned out. But what happens? You come back, you open your
No, no.
emails.
Coming back is the next step. We are still thinking there only. We are there, but we
Yeah,
are
we're
here.
there, but we are thinking out there. And then you actually come back and you open your emails.
Yeah.
3 days.
Yeah.
3 days is all it takes most of the time to be back in the same cycle. Because your root problem is the way you relate to stress.
Yeah.
And that a vacation will not change it. You know, it's like putting a bucket under a leaking roof. It'll still keep leaking. Eventually, the bucket will get full and the water will spill out any which
Yeah.
ways.
True.
What we have to change is the way we kind of change our relationship with stress. That is the most important. We confuse that escape is the solution.
Hmm.
Our vacations are an escape. And mindset transformation is completely different. It's creating micro habits. It's being able to recharge during your day, finding those mini gaps in your day so that you don't have to wait for a vacation. And until leaders understand that,
Hmm.
burnout for everyone is always going to be waiting for you at the arrival gate. You arrive at the
Yeah.
arrival gate and burnout is right there because you haven't changed the way you kind of relate to it.
Yeah. Now, taking that, we'll come back to our busy calendar stuff. Why do
Oh yeah.
busy calendars hide slow moving projects?
Because we've glorified speed, because busyness gives the illusion of progress, right? So back-to-back calendar looks very impressive, no? We look at
Yeah.
someone like, oh my God, so busy, and we think that motion is progress. But I could be spinning around in circles all day, all day. I have moved,
Hmm.
but I have not progressed. And it's just as simple as that. And I do this often in my programs, coaching programs, individuals and teams. The first thing that I do in the second session is to check their calendars.
Hmm.
And usually there is not even a single empty slot. And yet, most important projects are getting delayed because that's why they'll come to me because otherwise they'll not, right? So most of the projects are delayed. And that is because we are just updating about the meeting. We are only talking about firefighting, like you spoke about in the previous example. We are talking about not talking about real execution. The busyness kind of camouflages the action altogether. And we do that in our personal lives also. Weekend comes, we'll fill our life with errands. To buy this, do that, do that. But we will not have that one difficult conversation that we need to have with our partner or someone else in the family. We'll not do that because avoidance is so much easier. And the calendars kind of give us this avoidance. And this is really the real danger, right? Because leaders are confusing this activity to be achievement. They are celebrating how packed we look, and the needle is not moving. So that's why it looks is glorified so much.
So, what we are talking about is I used to have one boss. His name was
Mm,
David C. Matthew. So,
mm,
he used to say, check my calendar. If I'm
yeah.
free, I'll. Mm. But his calendar used to be free almost. And he
And
used to
how
say,
what a joy, right? To see that someone asked you to check
yeah,
the calendar and the calendar
check
is
the
free.
calendar. And he'll say, see, I can spend time. Now, I am here to help you get the projects delivered. You need help, I am here. That's the way a manager is to be. But I'll be available. That I'll give you pointers that you should be coming and tell me this is the problem. There are few things which we have missed, or this is where I am not getting a hint. You need to
Mm,
analyze the problem because you know the solution better than because you are the doing the project rather than me knowing the project, right?
yeah.
I can give you a different thought process to solve that, but I will not know the project. So you will have to know your project in and out. Now,
Yeah.
if I ask you to tell something in the SOW, you will have to tell me. Now you have to tell me if there is a hardware, which is the hardware, who is the person you have to. He used to give the details and tell this is the project. He'll come to our review meetings and he'll talk. he used to do review also, very, very short, crisp stuff.
Mm,
He never used to waste time. And you go to him. Uh, I went to him for a project where I had some fiber cables issue, which were short.
mm,
I went to him and told, sir, I have a problem which I am not able to get the length of the cable to the end. He said, okay, what is the option? We need to buy some cables. Okay,
mm,
this is the number. Call him, tell him that I told him. He'll send you the cables by tomorrow. Replace,
mm,
problem solved. Over. I mean, finished.
mm. So that's what the clarity, right? It's asking someone that you have to come to me with details. It's such a beautiful way of saying, you better think about this and come to me because the answer lies in you pausing and reflecting on it.
Yeah.
It's a cycle of reflection, and that's so important. And really great that you worked with a leader like that because this is what we need. Leaders giving us also the space to reflect, right? And it's a beautiful way of leading. Yeah.
He used to also says there are three things that will affect a project:
Mm.
cost,
Yeah.
resources,
Mm.
time.
Yeah.
So you tell me what is that? If you
Mm.
say cost, he'll say how
Mm.
much.
Mm.
Cost is how much. Now
Yeah.
you have to tell me resources and
Mm.
time how you. That's why you come to cost. Now you
Yeah.
will say time also there. Three
Mm.
months. You said
Mm.
three resources. Three resource
Mm.
time kitna 3 mahina. So
Mm.
3 mahine ka this resource cost is 10,000 rupees. 30,000 is. So you want
Mm.
30,000 rupees. He used to give you that solutions.
Yeah.
30,000 chahiye, approved. Go ahead. Can you solve the problem or will not solve? Is there something that you are missing?
Yeah.
You'll ask in the last. So you figured out you need resources, you need money, and this is the time you need. Okay?
Mm.
All three approved.
Yeah.
Is there anything needed? After 3 months, don't tell me I forgot this.
Yeah. And
So,
the thing is in this, sorry, I'm cutting you, but the one thing that is not measurable and which is such a key ingredient in this is the mindset of the leader,
yeah.
right? Because while there are three things, time, cost, and resources that we're talking about, the one non-measurable thing which is kind of leading all of this is the mindset,
Yeah.
which is what makes all the difference.
True. Well, coming to that, how teaches leaders to managers, or I'll rephrase, how
Mm.
or who teaches leaders to manage their attention before they manage the team? No.
Oh, interesting. Unfortunately, the answer is almost no one. Because leaders are taught about finance, they're taught about strategies, they're taught about KPIs, they're taught about negotiation, but not how to handle their own wandering attention.
Hmm.
I love car examples. So it's like giving someone a 600 horsepower car, but with no brakes, right? So you can ride it, but if you drive too fast, then you know what happens. So that's really is a challenge, right? And we underestimate how, visible attention is in our day-to-day things. If you are half there, your team will notice.
Hmm.
If you're fully there, even for 15 minutes, it builds more trust, you know, than hours of distracted leadership. And leadership training I can just say it as bluntly as it can, is incomplete without attention. Because if you can't focus, you can't listen. And if you can't listen, then you cannot lead. It really is as simple as that. And I'm glad that some of the organizations that I'm working with now are kind of becoming, waking up to this, and they are incorporating this as a very key ingredient of the trainings that we offer to the leaders.
I have two pointers to close for today.
Yes.
And with that, what I want to ask as the first pointer is, why does culture reward speed but punish mindful pacing?
Because speed looks very heroic,
Hmm.
speed is very visible, you're like someone's rushing into a meeting, saying that, oh my God, I have to rush, and I just have like 10 minutes to give you, quick, we make it quick, and I have to go to another one, and all of those things. And people will start to clap and think that, oh my God, he's so busy, must be a really important person. Instead of somebody who walks in very calm, very composed, on time, and everyone's wondering, yeah, calm hai ki nahi hai? Is he like, does he have work? Is he working hard? What it looks very free. So, there was this one person that I coached, and he was very young, a young leader. And he was told that, you have to look a little busy, because, you're so calm and all that. It looks like you have no pressure, no work you're doing. That's what he heard from his senior leaders. And imagine what does that do to a person? Meanwhile, people who are panicking and all that, they are all thinking like, oh my God, they're working so hard. And this
Mm.
bias frame comes from the industrial era thinking back in the days, where faster meant like we are doing better in assembly lines, but in areas of knowledge work, where areas of, doing precision work, this doesn't count. This leads to burnout. And we have not updated our cultural narrative. We're still thinking like the industrial era here, which doesn't work. You look at chefs in a normal
Mm.
restaurant, frantic
Yeah.
kitchens, working really hard, trying, just shouting and noise. But if you look at chefs in Michelin star restaurants, they are very quiet because they are Michelin star. There is this kind of precision which is required. And that precision only comes with presence. So the culture needs to learn that mindful pacing is not laziness. We need to get out of that. It is mastery.
Yeah.
And the leaders who kind of embrace this shift usually are the ones who outlast the ones who are addicted to speed, like the, hare and the tortoise story that we have heard. It really is true. They are the ones who are going to outlast. They might not be picking up quickly, but once they are there, they have mastered that with precision, their skill set, people, how to manage them. I mean, they are like the horses of the long race.
I had a mentor in Wipro where
Yeah. Mm,
I unfortunately lost him. So he's no
mhm,
more. So uh, he, what I used to do is when I'm struck, I never asked him anything. I
mm,
call him and he say, I speak to him, how are you? What is happening? Kya hua? He'll start with.
mm, mm,
Then, nahi, you don't call me just like that. There is something which is going on. What is that you need? क्या चाहिए? He'll say, then he'll say, ऐसे हो रहा है some project which is हाँ ठीक है हर प्रोजेक्ट में होता है इट्स ओके
mm.
एंड देन ही विल से ही विल नॉट गिव यू एनीथिंग अगर नहीं हुआ तो दोबारा कॉल करना
Oh, nice.
Heck,
Mm,
he'll drop the call. He'll never talk
mm,
afterwards.
mm,
You didn't tell me. That's okay. You called me. It's still
mm,
fine. I'm okay to talk to you. But you're doing something. You called me for something, but you don't want to tell. No problem. Call me when you are in a position to tell me. So he'll call. He'll drop the call,
yeah.
literally. Then
Mm,
you say, okay. Then you'll go sit for 5 minutes. Then you'll figure out. Then he'll call you after half an hour. कुछ
mm,
हुआ कि अभी you are stuck. He'll say, नहीं हो गया.
mm.
So that's why I said you'll figure out.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly. Like
kind of
just that being able to anchor someone with your steadiness.
yeah.
That's what leaders do. They are anchors. That's one of the primary roles that we've not been taught, that leaders are not being taught. How to be that anchor in the chaos instead of adding to the chaos.
What if mindset become a part of project management dashboards?
Oh
That's
my
the
God, that's
final
like my
question.
dream come true, Prem. It's like, you've envisioned my dream, and I really hope it does. I mean, I'm working towards that because imagine logging into a project software
Hmm.
and you seeing not just deadlines and budgets, but you're also seeing like things like a team clarity score
Yeah.
or a leader's attention index. Because right now we are tracking everything that drives execution,
Yeah.
but we are not tracking the state of mind behind it. Like I told you, like when you were talking about, the leader that you worked with, he said there are three things: time, resource, and money, right? But what about the mindset that is driving that kind of questioning? Where are we keeping a track of that? Where are we celebrating that? Where are we encouraging that? I've worked with startups who have everything on the dashboard, except and yet things are not happening and then don't know why. And that's primarily because of the mindset.
Yeah.
Because mindset on dashboards is not fluffy. It is not numbers. It's a feel that you have. And if you expect humans to do work, I know there's a lot of AI chatter, but at the end of the day, it's people who will get the
Yeah.
work done as well. You need this. You cannot operate without this. It's as simple as that. Because projects don't just fail from a lack of Gantt charts. They
Hmm.
don't. They fail from unclear minds. They fail from poor focus. They fail from emotional drain, burnout. And if mindset becomes measurable, leaders would finally treat it as an essential part of their learning and not optional, which is a lot of leaders have been treating it. And I want to really see that change happening.
That's great. That happens. I think you can read a mindset on the dashboard itself. How this
Yeah.
guy is right putting things around. Yeah. So with this, I have my pointers which I wanted to discuss with you. I'll just summarize
Yes.
so that we look at what we spoke for the last 50 minutes now.
Mm,
We spoke about why restless mind slowing every deadline that we have. Do we have a
yeah.
control is what we started with. Then we spoke
Mm,
about multitasking, how it pulls out or lowers down our IQ. Then we
mm,
spoke about the silence in your head is
yeah.
scary than the noise in the house inbox. So that's where we spoke about most of the resignation part, teams not heard. We spoke about how silence is your superpower at times, and that's what we spoke of. And
Yeah.
some of the performance nightmares leaders ignore. That's what we spoke about. And we spoke about draining when you see everything complete but still you feel you're not accomplished. That's one point
Yeah.
that we spoke. And
Mm,
sometimes deadlines are real stressors, or that's the chaos that is there in our mind. That
yeah.
is one point that we spoke. And we also spoke about constant pressure being there, and how do we refresh our or renew our
Yeah.
focus, that we
Yeah.
spoke about. Then burnout cycles we spoke about. Instead of taking vacations, we spoke about an important point. People go to vacations and they're still in the office, but when
Yeah.
they're in the office they're talking about vacations. So that's what we spoke about.
Endless cycle. Yeah.
Endless cycle. Then we spoke about calendars showing up if they are fully blocked, but things are not happening. They don't have time for important projects, and everything is messing up. They are in the other project by a meeting or a project already when they are in a current meeting. So
Yeah.
that's what we spoke about. Then who teaches leaders to manage their attention is one thing which we are still able not to figure out, is what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
And we spoke about culture and speed and stuff where we spoke about. And
Yeah.
finally what we spoke about is the mindset, where you can look that mindset of a person bringing up a dashboards that is beautifully explaining what was his thinking and how he solved a problem, or what is that he is going to do. That's
Yeah.
what we spoke in the last 50 minutes of our discussion.
Yes.
And that's what is any final pointers that you want to add to the audience before we conclude the session, Shika?
Yeah, I think one very important thing. We talked about what is it that we require to renew the energy, right? To renew
Mhm.
the focus.
Yeah.
This is a place where a lot of people kind of get it upside down.
Mm.
So all the tools that you have available, whether it's apps or journals or, silence, so as to
Mm.
say, they are like gym equipments.
Yeah.
You can buy the fanciest of the treadmills and the dumbbells, but unless you know how to use them, you're
Yeah.
just decorating your living room. And that's not what we want, right? We want
True.
you to be able to use these things. And the right way to do them is when you're kind of guided and someone's there to overlook you. And this is a missing link. Every time we think of the great practitioners of silence or attention training across history, they all had guidance. Everybody had gurus, right?
Mm.
Everybody had, even the Stoics, philosophers that we kind of quote on Instagram and LinkedIn nowadays, had mentors. They all did. They didn't self teach themselves. Right? And that's a very crucial part. And that's the kind of role a coach, a mentor plays in your life. There's someone who helps you to reflect back on your blind spots. And I'm a coach. I have my own coach. I have my own, teachers that I lean into because that's just human. You can't see your own blind spots. And then someone guides you to be able to use these tools in the right way so that they fit into your daily routine and enable you to create these spaces where you renew and recharge during your day. And so this is something that I want everyone to take away from. It's not about waiting till you get burnt out. It's not about waiting till thinking, oh my God, what really went wrong? It's
Hmm.
about pausing intentionally today so that you don't reach this place and you're able to stay in the game for the longest period of time as you deserve to. And that's perhaps is the most crucial skill that a leader needs today. Because as far as I know, over the years, everybody gathers all the other skills and learnings. This is something that we haven't been taught in school. Something that's not part of our culture earlier.
Yeah.
Um, it's something that we can really kind of imbibe and learn and will make the world of a difference. The world needs more of this. So that's
I'll
my
add
kind of
to
point.
one pointer that there is,
Yeah.
if you see the most successful people, whether it's sports or business,
Oh, yeah.
they have
Yeah.
coach. They have
Everybody does. Yeah, they do.
everybody has a coach. So everybody gets some advice, and there even the Prime Minister of India does
Mm,
not look at decisions. He has people who are influencers who give them the statistics, and this is where he gets the data pointers. That's
yeah.
kind of a pointers where he does not know everything, but he has people to get things everywhere. So
Yeah.
that's the point,
Exactly.
right? And Ronaldo, the football player, Cristiano Ronaldo said one where he has a coach. He said
Yeah.
that's where I get trained. That's where I see where are the faults that are coming from my side of playing also. So the most successful,
Yeah.
most influentials have coaches, and they also fail at that times or point is what we want to look at. That's where we talk about
Yeah.
can mind shift cut the cycle time. Yes, it can.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 110%. That's your superpower in the world that we live in, which is highly scattered and distracted. If there's one thing that is your superpower, that is your ability to bring attention to what's important and do it extremely
Yes.
mindfully.
Thank you, Shika. Thank you for
Yes.
that.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Prem.
And for the audience, we have streamed this on live to LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Hope you found this discussion valuable. Thanks for joining us. Our next podcast is happening on the 16th of September at 6:30 p.m. with a new topic. Looking forward to see you. Good day and bye for now, Shika, and for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for being here, spending your time, listening, sharing, and love to hear from all of you on any of the social media platform. Thank you so much, Prem,
Yeah,
for having me again. It's an absolute pleasure for the kind of conversations that you bring in. There's so much of true, authentic intention there. Keep doing it.
thank you.
Thank you.
You can follow Shika on the link that is scrolling down. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you.